They don't ask how. They never, ever ask how. They only want to know how many. And the Bombers end a 3-game losing streak with their 7th win of the season and a final score of 26-18 using physicality, defense, and finding ways to make plays on special teams. Yeah, and defense as well. We're going to talk about Chris Streveler. We're going to talk about Dru Brown. We're going to talk about this Blue Bombers team that seemingly picked themselves up off the floor and found one of the most unique ways to win a football game that you can imagine. Welcome, everybody. Great to see you all in the live chat. This is Game Day After Dark, your live Blue Bombers postgame show here on Bonfire Sports. My name is Darrin Bauming, joined by the man affectionately known as Schnitzy, Zach Schnitzer. You got your chain on. You got your Jets jersey on because you were down at FanFest at the Hockey for All Center. But let's get right into it, Schnitzy. We got so much to get to on the show today. Your thoughts on a performance by the Bombers that was pretty impressive overall to get a win in Ottawa, and a performance by Chris Streveler that was anything but inspiring when it comes to throwing the football.
I'm going to disappoint all of our listeners and viewers, Darrin.
There's no chance. There's no chance.
Because I went on an epic nuclear rant on Chris Streveler and Bombers management after last game. I did a reel on Instagram for about 2 minutes, and then I still didn't have it out of my system, so I did a Spaces rant for 20 minutes in the car. And people are probably wondering, where's the rant now? The guy you were demonizing was 3 for 8 for 54 yards and an interception for an efficiency rating of 9.4. And he was left in the game. He was left in the game in the second half into the fourth. He had 0 net yards of offense in the third quarter, Darrin. And they left him in the fourth quarter. However, Bombers fans, he did what he had to do to win the game. And in this case, all he had to do to win the game was some zone read, run the ball on second down, give it to Brady, who had 100 yards rushing. Streveler ends up with 72 yards. I am not going to let him up off the mat here. It was horrible. We don't know, though, how much of it was Hogan saying, just don't pass the ball. But however you want to spell it out, Darrin, was this not, if there's a CFL almanac that's written under the chapter complimentary football, is this not the most complimentary football game that you have ever seen in your entire life? It was insane. I have never seen a football game where a team wins with 3 completions for 54 yards against Dru Brown, who threw for 406 yards. That is absolutely insane.
The Bombers' defense bend, but did not break. And while the yards racked up for Dru Brown, he was 73%, 406 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, both by Cam Allen. We're going to talk about Cam Allen, Willie Jefferson, Tony Jones, and Cam Lawson. We'll take a look at those penalties. The defense was impressive in that they didn't allow any sort of run game going. They were very good on second down, very good at forcing the Ottawa RedBlacks to punt the football. They just didn't allow Ottawa to get any continuity going. So yeah, 400 yards. But that just shows that you can have a quarterback to throw the lights out. But if the rest of the team doesn't play well, if you don't execute in the right situations, you'll lose football games. And that's why the Ottawa RedBlacks are where they are right now.
Yeah. If you're in Ottawa, I know this is about the Bombers, Darrin. I'd love to get your thoughts on this because you have a wider view of the league than I do. I just hone in on the Bombers mostly. But if you are an Ottawa RedBlacks fan and your team, which absolutely needed a win to stay in the playoff hunt, you could argue that they, at 4-10, they are toast.
Yep. Well,
Okay.
hey, you know what? Like, I think for our audience that are Blue Bombers fans, this was a must-win game too, because you're going up against a team in Ottawa
Yeah.
that has been hot and cold, and Winnipeg, they've lost three straight games, two times this year. They didn't want to make it their longest losing streak of the season with a fourth straight. Um, Physicality is something that is so often overlooked by fans because I think it's hard to discern who's winning the physicality battle just by watching the game on TV. I think sharp eyes, wise eyes, football minds, those eyes will watch a game in person and say, wow, like one team is finishing their tackles, finishing their hits, finishing their blocks, being the hammer, not the nail. There's a lot of cliche with it that goes into it. But what I saw is an Ottawa RedBlacks team that just, to borrow a phrase I used earlier, couldn't peel themselves up off the mat. They could not find a way to get anything going. And that just Winnipeg took penalties, right? They had two roughing the passer penalties that we'll look at. We'll get into some video highlights soon. Some of those plays are indicative of the type of football Winnipeg played today, and that was physical football. Walby and I talked about it on the pregame show. You can find ways to win, and it's a QB-driven league. It's a QB-driven game, the game of football. But if you are hobbled on offense and you can't pass the football, like Winnipeg can't right now with Chris Streveler, they still ran the ball effectively. They turned it over early, but they didn't turn it over often. They cleaned that up. The defense made plays, took the ball away. Special teams, Michael Ayers with a great forced fumble, and Tanner Cadwallader with the recovery. They took the ball away on special teams, and they just played a winning brand of football. People in the live chat were chewing me up last week, Schnitzy. They were chewing me up. They were all on your side, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them for being on your side. They were chewing me up because I was kind of playing the other side of things. Be like, look, there's a reason why they're sticking with Chris Streveler. I was asking rhetorical questions. Questions that drive that conversation, that rhetoric of why are they not going to Terry Wilson? Why are they sticking with Chris Streveler? And Mike 𝘎𝙤𝙦, in his first availability at practice this week, following that third straight loss in Hamilton, used the word fire like 4 or 5 times in like a 6-minute, like in answering just a couple questions about Chris Streveler, in like a 3-minute span, use the word fire over and over again. I can kind of understand players being like, why can't we, get someone in there that can throw the football? If I'm like, I was a receiver growing up, like I want the ball. Everybody wants the ball. But I think there's also something to be said, Schnitzy. I don't know if you agree that you want a leader of men in that huddle. And again, I got chewed up last week. I was not defending Chris Streveler. They needed to be a lot better. And I would like to see Terry Wilson. But what I do know is that today, the offense, the defense, the special teams, the entire team, I think they benefited from their backs against the wall, their us versus the world mentality. I think the Blue Bombers have embodied for the last decade plus under Mike 𝘎𝙦𝙦. And I don't know if Terry Wilson, aside from passing the football, okay, let's talk about what Winnipeg did employ offensively. I don't know if Terry Wilson could have done what Chris Streveler did in running the football, in bringing that fire, in bringing that experience to know that, ball control and all those other things you got to do. No, Chris Streveler is not going to win you football games as a passing quarterback. It's clear as day. It's clear as day. But obviously, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers coaching staff and football club see something in Chris Streveler that we got to witness in the way they won the football game today. Does that make sense? You kind of hear what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying. I mean, listen, any other game with with a quarterback with one completion for 11 yards and an interception into
It's
the fourth
incredible.
quarter, Darrin, gets pulled. No question.
Yeah.
And I support that 100%. You saw my rant earlier. In this particular game, and folks, keep in mind, this game is a unicorn. These games almost never happen. Okay? This is not a sustainable way to win football games, so please take the next comment I'm going to make into context. But in this specific game, where you had Trey Vaval return 2 missed field goals, both which were makeable. One was 46 and one was 42 for a total of 199 yards and a touchdown. The defense gets 2 key interceptions. One of which Allen had both of them. One of which Allen returns for like 71 yards. So he had about 100 yards of interception return yards. Okay, and then you have an offense that cannot throw the football, but it was a situation where you needed Streveler to be a leader, to not turn the ball over again, and to just let Brady cook and just get yards, okay? The Bombers scored 16 points off turnovers. That was the difference in the game. In this particular game, which again was a unicorn, folks, these games never happen. Okay?
Well, I wouldn't say they never happen.
In this particular game, it was the right move to keep Streveler in because the way the defense and special teams was playing, you didn't need a guy who could throw the ball. Just the way this game was playing out. You and I were texting about it. In this particular game, you leave Streveler in, and it ended up working out. And to Strevy's credit, I'm not going to say he's a good quarterback in this league, but to his credit, he hits Corcoran, number 81, who led the Bombers in receiving for a big 24-yard gain in the fourth quarter, which really, really put Ottawa away, Darrin. In this game, you needed to leave Streveler in. And listen, this is not a sustainable way to win football games. If Streveler completes 3 passes against Hamilton, they're going to lose. Okay? The Bombers just happen to have had 2 games that Streveler started as wins this year. This game was somewhat similar to the Week 9 game against the Argos, where the Bombers won 41-30, where Streveler threw 3 picks, was ineffective as a passer, but Vaval has 2 return touchdowns, and Jay Person, off a Willie Jefferson forced fumble, gets a touchdown. Defensive touchdown. Okay? Like, these games are so bizarre. If I could just finish on this, just for historical context, folks, if you're a Bombers fans, I want to take you back to a game that this reminded me of in 2019, okay, in August. The Bombers beat the Edmonton Elks 34-28 with Streveler starting, Darrin. He completed 7 passes for 89 yards, and he ran for 91 yards and a touchdown. Very similar stats to today. Andrew Harris in that game had a touchdown, went off for 89 yards. Oliveira had 100 tonight. Okay? The Bombers won that game 34-28 with under 100 yards passing and only 7 completions. And they won the game. And maybe that's a recipe for Streveler, right? You need your defense and special teams to play absolutely balls out. And
no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt this is the recipe for how to win with Chris Streveler. No question. I've been saying it for weeks. You can win games with Chris Streveler. This is how it's done. I knew the Winnipeg Blue Bombers were capable of this because I've seen them with good quarterbacking absolutely kick ass against good football teams, right? We saw it against the Saskatchewan Roughriders, arguably the best team in the CFL right now, okay? And it came down to one play on the road in a rivalry Labor Day Classic, right? A rivalry game on the road. Came down to one play, and Collaros maybe played his best game of the year in the Labor Day Classic, but they were physical. They played strong defense. They made things happen on special teams, and they rolled with the best in the league. But that was what? The first of, that was the second of 3 straight losses. And Collaros gets hurt. We see what we have in Chris Streveler, in the rest of the Banjo Bowl, in Hamilton today. And Bombers Nation is, well, it's written off. No. This is football. This is the most dynamic, complex, professional sport on earth. I will argue that till the day I die. There are ways to win. There are ways to win when one thing isn't working. Everyone talk complementary football. Well, when your offense isn't playing well, your defense and special teams step up. When your defense isn't playing well, your offense scores a bunch of points, your special teams give you good field position when your defense can't give you good field position. This is how you win with Chris Streveler. And yeah, it's the Ottawa RedBlacks. I'm not even reading the live chat, which is lit today, by the way. Awesome. I would love to hear people's bonfire burning point. We're going to get to that right now. I'm not even reading that live chat because I know people are like, oh, this is Ottawa. And this is a unicorn game. I know you're being hyperbolic, Schnitzy. These games do happen.
No, I know they do.
You know, like if it's a unicorn, there's a unicorn or two every CFL season, right? We saw Ottawa beat Calgary in Calgary. Yeah, it was a bad weather game, but you find ways to do it. And I know this Blue Bombers team is capable of that because they are coached the right way, they are rostered the right way, and they play the right way. There's a reason they've been to 5 straight Grey Cups, and it's not Zach Collaros alone. Sorry, it's not. When Collaros throws 2 or 3 picks, the defense makes plays. The special teams scored touchdowns. They force takeaways. They punch the ball out. That's what you do. Tom Brady throws picks. Trevor Harris throws picks. VA. Anthony Calvillo would throw picks. Like, come on. Come on. Doug Flutie throw picks, and the defense would help them win. That's what good football is. That's why the Bombers have been to 5 straight Grey Cups. It's my turn to rant. Hey, you ranted last game on the loss. I'll rant this game with the win. This is how you're absolutely right, Schnitzy. You're right. This is how you draw up a Chris Streveler win.
So my concern is that great that the Bombers won. Credit to the coaching staff and the players, especially on defense and special teams, Darrin, right? Because those are phases of the game. It's not just the offense. My only caveat is Ottawa was awful in key moments of this game.
Yep.
They missed 2 field goals. They took a roughing the passer on Streveler. Dedman got fumbled, right? Dru Brown throws 2 back-breaking interceptions, and the Bombers still won mostly because of defense and special teams. And yes, well, that helped Streveler get a win. It is not sustainable, I would argue, right? I think
you're not going to do this every week.
No, you're not going. Ottawa's the worst team in the league for a reason. They're the worst. They have some talent, don't get me wrong, but they are the worst team for a reason because they lost to this Bombers team with 54 yards of passing.
And great
so it's
point
not
here.
Sustainable against good teams.
No doubt.
But I'll give the Bombers credit for pulling it out today.
And great point here by Tico Napoli. No effing way does this drawn up game plan win 3 playoff games, never mind throughout the regular season. Absolutely. Those of you fire starters out there that have been watching this show and the pregame show with me and Chris Walby, Game Day Winnipeg, all season, you've heard me say it. This team will not make any noise. The only way they will make noise and win in the playoffs, get into the playoffs and win in the playoffs. Well, you know what? I think they can even get into the playoffs without Zach Collaros. I don't think that's what they want. I don't think that's what anybody wants, but I think they could. Every team 7 teams make the playoffs, right?
6.
Wait, 3 miss? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Sorry. Every team except the bottom 3 makes the playoffs. Okay. I think they could get in. Anyway, I digress. The only way they're going to make noise is with Zach Collaros at quarterback. The only way. So no, this isn't going to work, but it worked today.
They work
It got them
today.
off the schneid.
Darren, can I just ask you back to my comment about Ottawa, and then we'll get into our awards. If you're an Ottawa RedBlacks fan or an Ottawa RedBlacks player, you have to feel absolutely sick to your stomach that your team, who was desperate, who absolutely needed this win. There's no sugarcoating this, Darren. That Ottawa's out. Ottawa's done. And a game you absolutely had to win against Chris Streveler, who threw for 54 yards and a pick in an efficiency rating of 9.4, when your quarterback threw for 73% and 406 yards and 2 touchdowns with 2
Mhm.
picks, obviously.
Yep.
You lost this game. And it wasn't even particularly close. The RedBlacks had that last minute garbage time touchdown. After the RedBlacks went up 7-0, the Bombers went on a 26-4 run with no offense. You have to absolutely be sick. This loss might cost Bob Dice's job. And I'm not saying it's Bob Dice's fault. He's a great guy. But my goodness, if you're Ottawa, did you see on the TSN broadcast that famous Ottawa RedBlacks fan with that sort of red and black face paint with the
Mhm.
teeth sticking out with a zipper or something?
Was
That guy
Malden?
was absolutely shocked. He was shocked. I don't know what to say to RedBlacks fans. I feel bad for you. Like that, this was an abomination, and it ended your season. And there's no moral victories, and there's no bright spots. And just they must be apoplectic, as apoplectic as I was after
Yeah.
last game in Streveler's performance, Darren. I just, what do you got to say about Ottawa at this point? Because they threw up all over themselves, and then did snow angels in their own vomit tonight. It is awful.
The live chat, you guys are right. Winnipeg is in third place. BC is in fourth. Winnipeg
Yes.
won the tiebreaker with a couple wins against them earlier, well, at the beginning of this season. But let's get into the bonfire burning point, Schnitzy. We're going to do Westwood wide to the right, Walby's Warrior, our happy honker, as well as our game balls, and continue to look at some of these. The moment of the game, and hit the live chat right now. And all of you in the live chat, like we've got over almost 500 people watching live right now across various platforms. Head over to youtube.com. You can just go bonfiresports.ca/live or bonfiresports.ca/YouTube. It'll bring you there. /Instagram will bring you to our Instagram /X/Twitter. It takes you to all the right places. You
What
can
about
find it there.
TikTok, Darren? Come on, get on TikTok, buddy.
Never. Nope.
You're so
Nope.
uncool.
Yep. That's cool. Anyway, hit that thumbs up, all of you out there. Do it right now. Appreciate that a lot. And let us know your bonfire burning point in the live chat. Pat Rathwell with the Trey Vaval return touchdown as his bonfire burning point. Cam Allen's first pick, says Waiters. And Jeff Cabillas, who wasn't here yesterday. People were calling you out, but he is here today. Robert Starr says, played the worst team in the league with apparently a good QB, and our backup isn't. Apparently meaning the Bombers think he's apparently a good QB, and the Bombers backup isn't. I don't know if that's like apparently a good QB because he's playing and the other guy isn't. Maybe they got two mediocre to poor quarterbacks. It's Zach Collaros' show. Yeah. Peter D says Allen's second interception. What do you think, Schnitzy?
So for me, it's the Vaval return touchdown. I know the Bombers didn't take the lead, and I know it was, at the end of the first quarter, which is pretty early for a burning point. But just the way that game was going, Darren, I can't understate how massive that was. I mean, in some ways, Vaval had no business taking that out of the end zone. He was 18 yards deep in the 20-yard end zone. But he takes it to the house, makes some guys miss, shows that speed. Just let me contextualize that play for you.
Mm-hmm.
Ottawa is up 7-0. They seem to be slicing and dicing the Bombers defense with ease on that first drive. The Bombers do nothing on a couple of drives. They're down 7-0. Streveler actually does have a drive going, and he gets intercepted. by Javan Santos Knox.
Great comment by Greg. Yep. Go ahead.
And he returns it 15 yards to the Ottawa 47. And the way Ottawa was playing, you're thinking this game is over. Like the RedBlacks are going to go and score a touchdown. It's going to be 14-0. Chris Streveler has only ever come back to win a game for the Bombers down 3. Anything over that, he's never come back and won. And they're going to be down 14. Or at the very least, they're going to be down 10. Lewis, the Bombers, their credit, they stop Ottawa at Winnipeg's 35-yard line. Lewis Ward comes in for a guy that's pretty automatic. It's a 43-yarder. You're thinking, okay, great, 10-0. This game isn't over, but it's in jeopardy right now with the way the Bombers are playing, offensively, defensively at that point. Lewis Ward misses the field goal from 43, and Vaval from, 18 yards deep in his own end zone, returns it 128 yards for the touchdown. Looks like he was gonna get tackled at least 2 or 3 times. I think Jeff Hamilton tweeted that's the tied for the longest return ever in Bombers history. Like, for that to happen at that moment, the Bombers tie it up.
Like,
I know it's tied. So
right there, he looks so jammed up. Hey, look how jammed up he looks near the goal line.
Yeah, I mean,
unbelievable. And that's great job by the blockers
vision,
too,
man.
Great job by the blockers.
Blocking. Yeah, great blocking, great
cut
vision.
there on Ward.
Yeah, and he's gone, and suddenly there was hope in a game that the Bombers had no business winning. You could argue there was hope, and I can't understate how big that play was, Darrin, this season. That could be the bonfire burning point of the entire season for me, Darrin. Really, the way the Bombers playing, it sparked them to a win. They go on a 17 or 26-4 run at that point, and they're off to the races.
Yeah.
And not only does Vaval do that, he gets what was it? 71-yard return off another missed field goal, Darrin.
Yeah, I'll pull that one up.
And then he seals the game when Dru Brown's on 3rd and 3 and they throw to the end zone for Lewis with one-on-one coverage. Vaval breaks it up. He comes in because I believe Lawson had to go play Dietrich Nichols' position at halfback, Darrin. So here's the other return. Yeah. I mean, Trey Vaval single-handedly, you could argue, won the Bombers this game, and he's a rookie. And you could say, oh, Vaval had that breakout performance there in Week 9 against Toronto. I talked about those 2 return touchdowns. But he hadn't done much since then. I don't think he had a big play return since then. Struggled as a defensive back. And you're thinking, oh, okay, he's a flash in the pan. The CFL is littered with flashes in the pan. Guys that, had that one good game and you never hear from them again. Rocky Butler, Troy Kopp, you name it. This was an absolutely massive game by Vaval. It could pace him to be the rookie of the year in the CFL. He now has 3 return touchdowns tied with 𝘎𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙚, the firecracker from Hamilton who comes back now. Mm-hmm. I can't understate how important that kick missed field goal return touchdown was, Darrin. And just a huge boost to the entire team, and kudos to Trey Vaval for having the gumption to take that ball out of the end zone that deep in it, not give up the single, and somehow score. There must have been a fiery, because we're making fun of the word fire. There must have been look at him with the highlights here. There's Vaval's pass breakup. Do you think there was a fiery speech from some of the coaches at halftime or prior to this game? Because bad.
Can I be honest with you? I don't. Okay. Because I think the way the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are coached from, the day before training camp to whenever the season ends, I think they're coached the same way. That, anybody can have a bad day. Anybody can have a mistake or two, fumbles, missed assignments, missed tackles, getting burnt. Remember Vaval a couple weeks ago getting burnt. in the Banjo Bowl, getting torched. And then what happens? You keep faith and confidence in that teammate, in that player. If you're a coach, you keep confidence and faith in them. You continue to coach, you continue to work. It's all those Mike O'Shea isms, right? Continue to work, continue to get better. And you're going to be the reason you win one day. You're going to be the reason you lose one day. You're going to be the reason you win one day.
Well, look at Michael Ayers, right?
Yep. Yeah.
A huge, like way down the depth chart. They line him up at D end. He's not a D end. He's a linebacker. He plays on special teams. He's had a couple of great special teams tackles this year. And at the end of the second half, when Ottawa's trying to gain some momentum back with Dedman, who's an elite returner, punches the ball out, Darrin.
Here it is.
Like, you're absolutely right. And that's the Bombers' MO, right? Oh, you have, look at him with the highlights. Folks, you got to watch on YouTube.
Well, and you know what?
Jumps on the ball there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That leads to 3 points. Just to like drill home your point, Darrin, that you're absolutely right. I think you put it well that O'Shea, he's been much maligned in recent weeks, but that is absolutely the truth. That depth players are always thinking to themselves, I can be the reason we win today. And they were. The special teams were elite. Sergio hit all his field goals. I think he hit 4 of them.
Yeah.
And that play was massive.
Yeah. Yeah. And you got to think of the unsung heroes on those Trey Vaval returns, because there's somebody that we don't see in the film here in these highlights that they will see when they break it down tomorrow at Princess Auto Stadium, the Bombers football facility, the inner workings of that football facility. They're going to chop that film up and they'll be like, hey, Jake Kelly, great block. Oh, go Jake, great job. Like those are the reasons Trey Vaval's able to pop off. So it's a lot of those unsung guys. But again, it all goes into like this is why Mike O'Shea has been so successful. And I will criticize Mike O'Shea when I feel he needs it. And I will praise Mike O'Shea when I feel he deserves it. He deserves it after a game like today, because despite X, Y, Z, Chris Streveler passing, yada, 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 they found a way to win. So kudos to all of those kind of unsung heroes, the coaches, all of those guys. Tanner Cadwallader was a big reason tonight. Ball Hockey Video says, Darrin, be careful playing highlights. YouTube, my flip. I'm not sure what you mean by my flip, but I get warnings all the time that, you
sent me the screenshots yesterday. What did they come out right after your show with Walby?
This is fair use, fair dealing. This is commentary and transformative content. We're not replacing people watching the game with these highlights. We are adding value to existing content. It is that's a copyright exemption. I learned this in journalism school. Yeah. Folks, it takes
give DB
clicking around.
But I want to just give you a shout out for dealing with that on a weekly basis, twice weekly basis.
It's worth it for you guys.
He gets copyright complaints.
It's just some buttons I got to push, some copy pasting I have to do with
But you do it, dude. A lot of other people will just back off and not have these highlights, and you're like, no, the fans deserve the highlights.
You know what I learned?
You throw them up there whenever we're talking about that particular play.
I learned last night. I learned last night the NFL has like a creator program where they give content creators, people on YouTube, they give YouTubers and Instagram content creators, whoever, they give them access to film, like the all 24 and like the different angles, not the broadcast, but like the raw film. They give them access to that because they know this helps drive viewership and engagement and grow the game. There could be young people out there, 20 years old. They've never, they don't really know what cable television is. It's something dad or grandpa watches or mom or whatever, right? But they're on YouTube and they see this. Welcome to 2025. But that's why we do that. Anyway, my bonfire burning point is that forced fumble by Michael Ayers. The reason is this the one? No, hang on. That was not my bonfire burning point. Was it? Yeah, I thought it was.
What, the Ayers forced fumble at the end of the second half?
Yeah, I'm
First half,
losing.
sorry.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, I can't remember. We'll have to come back to it. Anyway, you got a Walby. You got a Walby's Warrior. Oh, but by the way, sorry. This is why I got distracted. And Schnitzy, you'll be happy about this. $50
Ooh,
super chat from Friesen.
wow.
Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate that. Friesen says, we want Wilson. Strev broke Dembski's streak. Of course, that was his streak of consecutive games of the reception. I think it ends around 90. We want Wilson for we won't win with Streveler come playoff time. Bombers win one more game, and 8-10 locks up an Eastern playoff spot. Words of wisdom by T-Kona's best friend, Ryan Friesen. Thanks again, Ryan. Very kind of you.
Wow.
Appreciate that and all the super chats that you guys.
That's gonna go right to Schnitzy. It's gonna go right to me. Woo!
Yeah. No, T-Will, you're totally right. Like, I look at the analytics, like all of you out there, and like 60% of you are between the ages of 35 and 65. Or 45 and 65. Like, a lot of people out there. It's awesome. But I'm just saying, there are young people that are like, would only come across CFL content on YouTube or on social media.
So my Walby's Warrior, Darrin, is maybe one that people don't expect. I'm not going to give it to Streveler, by the way. There's no way I'm giving my Walby's Warrior to Streveler. I'm giving my Walby's Warrior to Dimeback Reddick Ramsey.
Love it.
I thought this guy was dynamite tonight. I don't care that he only had 4 tackles, whatever. 4 is a fine number. That's not why I'm giving it to him. I'm giving it to him because he had blanket coverage on 2 go routes up the seam that Brown was looking for, and Cramdy was running the route for the receiver. The receiver had no chance. Cramdy had body position on him. Sometimes maybe you go after that dime back because they're not technically a defensive back, but they are. And Cramdy just absolutely ran the route for him. And, you know, if he doesn't make even one of those plays, maybe this game ends up differently. But I'm also giving him the Warrior, not only because of his play, but because he's a general on the field. I think he's the Adam Bighill of the linebacking core, even though he's not a linebacker. O'Shea has talked about how smart he is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they were able to survive without him a little bit. Was it last game he was out, Darrin? When I think Griffin was in for him.
Cramdy 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks, sorry, 2 weeks ago. And
he missed the banjo.
I think
missed the Banjo Bowl.
Missed the Banjo Bowl, sorry. Yeah. I think he makes a huge difference on that defense. And it comes back from injury, and I thought he just balled out. I love this player. He's one of my favorites. You have Canadian at Sam, which is like another unicorn. Mm-hmm. Maybe Patrice Rene is the only one in recent memory that I can think of for BC as a Canadian at the Sam position. So shout out to Reddick Ramsey. It's not always the highlights. It's the solid play that kept Ottawa from really opening this game up.
Corey Anaka says 1960 was the last time a QB took the win and 0 pass completions or 0 passing yards. I don't believe that's the case. This was simply a statement. The Bombers beat Edmonton 18-14 on August 25th, 1960 with 0 yards passing. Doesn't say anything there about it being the last time. But yeah, the game of football, as I laid out there, very different game 65 years ago. But all that more impressive of what they were able to do. I'm giving my Walby's Warrior to, oh yes, now I remember what my bonfire burning point is, because it was made by this guy. So my Walby's Warrior goes to Cam Allen. 2 interceptions tonight. He's taken a lot of criticism. I even had someone tweet at me in the first quarter, can we cut Cam Allen after the first quarter? Well, I'm sure they're eating their words and considering erasing tweets now with the type of game Cam Allen had. To me,
Yeah.
this was also the bonfire burning point, because this led to a 35-yard Sergio Castillo field goal and put Winnipeg up 20-11 in the fourth quarter. At that point, they could essentially play ball control, and they could essentially just kind of bleed the clock. And they did. By the way, LaPolice was awesome today, as he usually is. I mean, he kind of always is. I shouldn't say usually. But he was particularly great today in breaking down a lot of the plays on the broadcast. I thought that was awesome. A former Blue Bombers head coach, OC, as well as a former Ottawa RedBlacks head coach, to bring him in to chop up Chris Streveler's tape, and to have that perspective on Bob Dice and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and Dembski and Oliveira and all these guys that he's coached before was great. So just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, he is fantastic for sure. I couldn't listen with full volume because my son was watching his iPad in the same room, and he gets mad if he can't hear it. And of course, there's 15 other rooms in the house, not 15, but many other rooms he could sit in.
You've got
he
15 other rooms in your house.
No,
Zach Schnitzer is a multi-millionaire, ladies and gentlemen.
No, 854 Hazeldale.
You're a working man. You're a family man. How many, if you include your cats and dogs, how many mouths do you have to feed?
Oh my God. Not only do I feed them all, I clean up their poo and pee and
what comes out of those bodies too. Yeah.
Well, just my son. Just full honesty, I don't wipe my wife's bum or my daughter's bum. I guess I wipe mine though. So there's 3 cats, 1 dog. I clean up all their crap.
And I'm sure you did
then my son
when your daughter was younger.
75% of the beings in this house, I clean up their poo and pee. Yeah.
Attaboy.
It's a lot. I'm a cesspool cleaner. What can I say? But I'm a happy one.
David knows. Headphones. That was always good. The job, mentioning LaPolice, kind of break things down. Chris Streveler, however he finished today, this was a nice, wide open, but I didn't mind. I thought the play calling was once again, pretty damn good. There's still some people out there that are calling for Jason Hogan's head. Him, Jarius Jackson, Zach Collaros, they're all in the room. They're all working with Chris Streveler and Terry Wilson and all of them. I thought they did a great job again in building a game plan that worked. There was one play, I'm trying to find it here. It was a Chris Streveler pass. I'll see if I can find it. But what was Chris Streveler at halftime? He was 1 of 6.
Yeah. He was 1 of 6 for 11 yards and a pick.
Yeah, and he finished 3 of 8 for 54. But there was one pass the far side to Ontario Wilson, and we should probably look at that hit too that 𝘎𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙯 took. But one pass to the far side that I thought was, LaPolice said it was a little bit underthrown. I thought it was really well placed football to the wide side of the field. I thought Chris Streveler threw a great football, and it was just dropped. I'll try to find it, but
I know.
In the meantime,
it was on second down. Yeah,
I'll ask you this, okay? And to people in the live chat too.
Yeah.
Oh, what's the relation to Glenn? That's Uncle Glenn. Comment. You got to watch the pregame show. We got into it all. We talked about the Manitoba Shuffleboard Association.
And as much as that sounds funny and boring, it was actually quite entertaining. I would highly suggest you'll find out things about shuffleboard and Walby and Darrin that you didn't know. It was great. It was a great chat. I almost didn't want you guys to keep talking about football. I wanted you to keep talking about shuffleboard.
You did, eh?
It's very entertaining stuff.
Yeah. Well, Walby's about to get his clock cleaned. Him and Stan Mikolas, two outstanding Blue Bombers alumni.
Can I jump off your point about play calling?
Yep.
I do know the play. I thought it was underthrown, but I thought Wilson could have caught it. It was still thrown low and away, maybe on purpose, but it looked underthrown. I don't know.
Here's the Santos Knox interception.
Yeah, this
That
is. What did you
was
see here?
that.
Because it looked like a terrible interception by
We'll see if
Streveler.
we'll get the video game perspective, which is always a little bit easier to see the quarterback's viewpoint. Yeah, don't worry, T-Will. We won't get to too much more shuffleboard talk. But this looks like a poor decision. It looks. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to get the video game look. Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, see, Lapo broke this down. I don't know if it's the dark jersey and the shade here. I don't know if that hurt. But I mean, you got to see the middle linebacker sitting there. You got to. Merle, old pal Merle, how are you, Merle? Winnipeg photographer, Merle Peters.
Merle, what's up, Merle?
Any word on the receiver that got smoked? No word. No word. We won't, and we won't. We won't get any word. That's just kind of how it works.
Yeah, I think Santos Knox drops into coverage, and Streveler just doesn't see him.
Yeah,
maybe because of the shadow. Although there's shadows a lot of the time in games, and
found it.
Quarterbacks don't seem to have a problem. But that was a tough look from Streveler. I want to talk about the play calling in a second, Darren.
This was the throw I was talking about.
Yes, on 2nd and 6. Yeah.
Not an easy throw. I thought Streveler did a great job getting the ball there. But go ahead on the play calling as we take another look at this.
So,
hey, thanks, Paulie.
My cat. Hey, T Kona, that's $60 in super chats.
Awesome. You're gonna have a 15-room house in no time. These keep coming.
No kidding. It's all coming. Didn't you have a $40 super chat with Walby? Do I get those too, or just the ones?
No, those go straight to our 63. Show? Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay. We've heard a lot of stuff about Jason Hogan. There was in the fourth quarter, Darren, when Streveler on second and long, when the game was still in the balance, there was a throw that Streveler had open to him, and the pocket was good. Don't talk to me about the O-line today. I thought they were fine. They did enough to win.
They were, yeah.
They were fine. I mean, they had a couple of breakdowns, but I thought they were fine. Okay. I'd have to rewatch the game to truly evaluate the O-line, and even then I'd struggle because it's a difficult position.
That's pretty funny, Andy. I like that. Very facetious.
Wilson was wide open in the end zone, and Streveler just didn't see it because his first read was gone. He had that. He almost seemed like he had phantom pressure, like he thought he had to get rid of it, so he just runs, or he had to get out of the pocket, not get rid of it, so he just ran and he got stuffed.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't the play, but no, Wilson was wide open. I mean, there were. I'd have to rewatch the game, but I'm sure there were receivers open, and I think either he was told not to throw the ball, or he was just gun shy of airing it out, and because there was so many plays in the second half where Brady would run on first down, and Streveler would run a quarterback keeper even on 2nd and long. And you could say, "Oh, what's Hogan doing?" Well, what do you do if you're a play caller? What do you expect him to do with a Chris Streveler playing like that?
Mm-hmm.
And in the fourth quarter, the Bombers went to bully ball and Streveler running the ball, and he had a 24-yard pass to Corcoran, who was the Bombers' leading receiver.
Well, yeah, because you keep pounding and pounding and pounding, something's going to open, right?
So it didn't look pretty, but it worked. I don't know what else. Yeah, I know. My cat. I have words for her, but
I almost feel bad. I shouldn't bring these. You get so distracted by the live chat comments I pull up on screen.
I get distracted by my own thoughts. I get distracted by shadows.
Tell me about it, bro.
I can't, in good conscience, throw any of this on Hogan at this point. I'd have to rewatch it.
Agreed.
But they did enough to win. If you have a quarterback that has one completion with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter for 11 yards and a touchdown, like, what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? You can't run Brady on first and second down. I suppose you could. But I came into this game, Darren, with this with this key to the game. I had one key to this game against a bad Ottawa team. I said, if Streveler can only throw one interception, I think the Bombers can win this game. If he throws 2 or 3, we are absolutely cooked. And luckily, he only threw 1. I mean, Streveler, coming into this year, Streveler was throwing picks on 5% of his passes. And people might think, oh, that's not too bad. Well, the average in the CFL is 2%. Like, so he's more than double the interception rate of all the other quarterbacks. This year, he was at 7.5%.
Mm-hmm.
So, if he drops back and throws 20, 25 times, that's like 2-3 picks a game. You're not going to win that way. Well, I think Hogan thought to himself, I can't have him throwing the ball. The way our special teams and defenses play, I don't care. Streveler, if your first read isn't open, I don't care what's happening in the pocket. Just eat the ball and run it.
Which makes you think, what are the conversations being had inside the coach's room when the players aren't around? What are the conversations being had right now?
Yeah.
Do you, how naive do you have to be to think, well, the Bombers are just, they're just making the wrong decision? They feel their best chance to win. Like, it's cliche and it's like, oh my God, really? It gives us our best chance to win. It's obvious they're not doing something to their own, I'm just being stubborn and we're sticking with this guy. Whether it's Hogan or Jarius Jackson or Mike O'Shea or all these different coaches, they're saying, we got Terry Wilson and we got Chris Streveler. What are we going to do to win? You use what you got, and they believe Chris Streveler gives them the best chance to win. I guess Terry Wilson can't do what we saw from Chris Streveler today. I kind of touched on that earlier. I guess he can't do that. Maybe he's not the right leader. Maybe he's not the right runner. Maybe he's not the right energy. Whatever it is, they think gutting out wins like today is more likely than Terry Wilson at quarterback. Unless something crazy happens this week and they're like, well, it's obvious, Chris Streveler experiment as a drop back passer. It's over. We're going to go with Terry Wilson against the Hamilton Tiger Cats in Winnipeg this coming week.
So I wouldn't be, if Collaros is out, do you think Streveler starts against Hamilton next Saturday? Okay, my cat is seriously getting me annoyed. Get out of here.
Yeah, what's that cat's name?
Livy.
Livy loves men.
Yes, she does.
Just like a magnet.
If we have people come over and there's a man, Livy goes right to the man. It's that deep voice. Livy,
that cat
honey,
never leaves me alone. Never leaves me alone. I'm so allergic. Anyway, here's week 17, Saturday.
You're a pussy magnet. What can I say?
Yeah. Saturday, September 27th in Winnipeg. Also a 2:00 Winnipeg start time. Same as today. I mean, Chris Streveler played the same way today than he did in Hamilton last week. Maybe we will see Terry Wilson. I'm a little hesitant to say that's what I think will happen. It's possible. But man, I'm conflicted because it's like, I want to see Terry Wilson because we all know what we have in Chris Streveler. I want to see him, but I also understand the Bombers are trying to win and they may believe that what Chris Streveler brings, and it's more than just he can run, but he can't throw. It's more than that. It's how he commands the huddle. It's how he leads. It's the quarterback. This isn't the kicker. This isn't a wide receiver or a running back or a DB or a linebacker. This is the starting quarterback. There's a weight to that. Everybody in the organization knows Chris Streveler's our starting quarterback. Nobody says, well, who's the starting safety? How much were they talking about Jamal Parker this week? How much were they talking about Tony Jones, the quarterback of the defense? How much were they talking about? No, it's who's starting at quarterback. That is the leader. That is, there's so much more that goes into it in football. So clearly it's pretty obvious to me that Chris Streveler brings something that I guess Terry Wilson doesn't.
So my question is, I get what you're saying.
I couldn't disagree more to Andrea. Sorry. What better players? Let me know. Go ahead, Schnitzy. Don't get distracted. What were you saying?
I assume she was talking about quarterbacks, which is a fair comment. I think you could argue if so, but I won't get into that.
I don't know if it's a fair comment because they cut 𝘎𝙥𝙤𝙧𝙨 and they cut Shea Patterson.
Yeah.
Who else did you want? Did you want them to go spend $250,300 on Cody Fajardo? The only reason Edmonton could afford Cody Fajardo is because they're not paying Tyrell Ford or Trey Ford very much.
No, it's just $400 for Troy.
And Zach Collaros is the highest paid player in the league. So
let me ask you this. I think you make a very good point about leadership and the intangibles that Streveler brings. Okay. My question is, I think the main question is for fans and players and management for the Bombers. Does Terry Wilson's talent outweigh Chris Streveler's leadership?
No.
Because
obviously not, right?
Here's my question today, Darrin.
Mm-hmm.
If Terry Wilson starts this game today, the game we just saw, does he win the game? And let me just add one thing. I think Terry Wilson can run the football just as well as Chris Streveler can. He is fast. He's big. He may even be faster. On short yardage this year, he's averaging like 3 or 4 yards on third down. He had that electric 48-yard run in the West Final last year on third down. He had a huge 16-yard run against Montreal on third down, which really put that game away. So my question is Terry Wilson able to win this game? Running with Brady, doing the zone read where he keeps the ball and waits to see what the defensive end is doing. And if the defensive end crashes, he goes outside. Like, is Terry Wilson able to do that and then chip in, which is just like one read? It's a zone read. You're reading one player, if I'm getting that right. Is Terry Wilson able to do that? Is Terry Wilson able to be 3 of 8 for 37% and 54 yards and only have 1 touchdown? Because if Terry Wilson is able to do better than that, and I think you'd hope he could, what do the Bombers lose in not playing him? What about Strevy's leadership got this game won for the Bombers? And I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just posing the question.
Sorry, and that is specifically?
So my question is, could Terry Wilson have won this game for the Bombers the way the defense and special teams played? And what did Streveler's leadership and intangibles and fire have to do with this win?
The second part of your question is a very difficult one to answer. But because we're not in the huddle, we're not in the room, that sort of thing. But I do know, we do know how hard they played today. Like, they won the physicality battle. They played excellent, top to bottom. To answer your first part of the question, that's also hard to answer because we haven't seen Terry Wilson run a series, let alone, we've seen him run a play here or there. We've seen him throw a couple passes in the Grey Cup last year, which he wasn't able to do much. It's cold. It's tough coming off cold off the bench. But I can't answer that.
Yeah, it's tough.
That's very tough. That's very tough.
Can I just go back to the O-line comment before we get into more awards? Because I see a lot of people crapping all over our O-line. And I, quite frankly, I've seen times where Malik Carney gashes the interior of the O-line in Labor Day, right? I've seen some sacks. And tonight, they gave up 4 sacks. But I'd have to go back and look, Darrin. Maybe one of those sacks was on the O-line. The rest of the time, it's Streveler running for his life.
Yeah.
When there's a clean pocket. What's the O-line supposed to do?
Yeah. Like Sash is saying, better O-line players. Again, who did you want them to target in free agency? And for what position? Because their starting right tackle is hurt right now. He's on the injured list. And like they're starting Kendall Randolph. They lost Liam Dobson in free agency because he got freaking paid. And it's like, okay, we got 𝘽𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙨 and we got Gabe Wallace, and we've got an American who's more inexpensive in Micah Vanterpool, who's hurt right now, but they know Gabe Wallace is the future there. Again, for those that they're like the Bombers management dropped the ball. Show me what you would have done instead. Who would they have signed? What quarterback? Because you look at the quarterbacks that are out there, like Cam Dukes, Shea Patterson, signed him, cut him. Jake Dolegala, signed him, cut him. Who else? What veteran backup? What veteran backup?
Dukes is the only guy I can think of right now.
And he was a free agent until week 15 of the CFL season.
But just to get back
on
to
a team that's been,
Darrin.
By the way, who did Dukes sign with? Montreal?
Yeah.
Like ravaged by injury. Ravaged.
Yeah. What did you see from the O-line? Because in my opinion, most of those sacks were on Streveler. I thought he had a clean pocket. He couldn't read the field. He didn't have the patience. He didn't trust himself. I don't know, but some of those are coverage sacks. Like I don't get the
not the problem.
How
not
and,
the
and
problem.
People are talking about the Banjo Bowl when Zach Collaros got knocked out of the game, which with what we think is a concussion, saying, see the O-line? Well, Saskatchewan brought 7 rushers, including CJ Revis, with 6 blockers. Brady picked up his block just fine, the blitzer. That's on Zach Collaros to see the free rusher. I know it was on his not his blind side, but he wasn't looking that way. Collaros has to get rid of that football. And maybe there was nobody open, maybe there was no hot road, and that's on Hogan, or the receiver's not getting open. But that's not an O-line bust that Zach Collaros got absolutely smoked by Revis.
Kenny Lawler.
I'm sick of hearing that.
Yeah. Kenny Lawler makes twice as much money as Dylan Mitchell. The Bombers had to decide between Kenny Lawler and Dalton Schoen. And I thought they made the right decision. In hindsight, maybe the wrong one. But at the time, I would have made that same decision because injuries happen. Injuries don't happen. It's fluky, right? Kenny Lawler missed 8 games last year with Winnipeg. He missed 8 games the year before. He has missed more games per season than Dalton Schoen. Dalton Schoen missed no games his rookie year, missed 2 games his second year. By the way, CFL All-Star in each of those seasons. And then he missed the entire season last year, and then he gets snagged again this year. Like, you're telling me you're gonna take a guy that missed 8 games this year, like it's the end of 2024. You're gonna sign the receiver that missed 8 games the year before, missed 8 games the year before that, got caught for a DUI. You're gonna sign that guy over the dude that has shown, pardon the pun, has shown to have great chemistry with your number 1 quarterback, and he's only like, and he's younger. Like he missed the whole season with an injury. Does that mean he's injury prone? He missed the whole season with an injury. Now he's missing another. It sucks. But I'm with you, Schnitzy. I'm tired of hearing that. Like, it was never Dylan Mitchell over Kenny Lawler. Give your head a shake. And people are like, oh, they should have found a way to keep Dru Brown as the number 2. How are you going to pay Zach Collaros $550,000, $600,000 and Dru Brown $450,000? How are you going to do that? How? It's so easy to just shoot from the hip and be like, they needed to be better in the offseason. They needed to find better. Who? That bothers me. It bothers me.
I hear you. The only player maybe that I would have shelled out the money for is Liam Dobson.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you let's say you just look at the Pro Football Focus stats for guards. So Pro Football Focus grades every single play in every CFL game based on a -2 to +2 scale. And they assign a grade. Now, people complain about they don't know the play call, but I've talked to Bryson Vesnaver, who does the scoring for PFF for CFL. Guy knows what he's talking about. He maybe he doesn't know the play, but he knows what's going on. There's only so many plays in football. He's broken down plays for me. I'll get to that later because I have a point about that.
Mm-hmm.
I trust PFF. I don't think it's the be all and end all, but I think it's a great database, and I paid for it this year. Liam Dobson is a top ranked guard in the CFL, and yeah, he got paid by I think he got paid $270 by Hamilton. He was I think all CFL last year or West All Star last year. Darrin, there's a guy that the Bombers developed that you could argue they should have kept because who's been playing left guard in his place? Young guy, admittedly, is Gabe Wallace. I have his jersey. Gabe Wallace is among starting guards in the CFL, Darrin. Gabe Wallace is not even in the top 10. Now, does that mean Gabe Wallace isn't going to get better and they can develop him? He's the best pass blocking guard according to PSF in the CFL, but his overall grade is not great. Now,
he's also filling in for an injured Micah Vanterpool.
Fair.
And Vanterpool was filling in for an injured Eric Lofton. And now it's Kendall Randolph filling in for an injured Eric Lofton and Micah Vanterpool. Like, injuries happen.
So that's for
Can't
sure.
Have starter. Like,
I would just say there may be more to meets the eye with more than meets the eye with Kenny Lawler. There may be personality stuff behind the scenes, folks. I'm guessing they asked Zach Collaros who he'd prefer, and he probably said Schoen. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about. For context,
Schoen's a freaking stud, man.
I
would take him almost. I would take him over Lawler. I would take him over anybody except Gino. I don't know if I would take him over Gino Lewis.
Yeah. The Neufeld is in PFF, Pro Football Focus. Neufeld is the third best guard in the CFL, so he's fine. Kolinkowski, okay. Kolinkowski is probably rated the worst center among starting centers in the CFL. And so it's
not argue, just like those numbers are all valid. I'm not discounting that, but I am saying that the context is how do they play together? How do they play in the system? Right? Like I was looking at analytics for defensive linemen in the NFL last night. I was looking up, some stuff with my team, the Indianapolis Colts, a team that I like to follow. And
big win over the Broncos last week.
It's very much like you look at individual grades of pass rushers and it's like, okay, they've got, a 56% win rate. But then as a team, they rank amongst the lowest in the league. They're amongst the highest in the league for individual player win rate, but then they rank amongst the lowest in the league when it comes to quarterback pressures. So how can those two things both be true? It's because you might have a player playing outside the system, just freelancing on the edge, beating his guy, but then the quarterback's running the other way. So like the same goes for offensive line grades, right? There's zone blocking schemes where I imagine players even get degraded because they're leaving their guy and allowing him to get past them because they're picking up that next guy because that's the way the direction, like there's a lot more at play when it comes to, you can't just look at those numbers and you have to take them with a grain of salt. You have to take them with some context.
Absolutely. And this, so just to finish my point, like the tackles like Stanley Bryant, Eric Lofton, like Kendall Randolph, they're right at the bottom in terms of grades. But this is also an O-line that has the best rushing attack in the CFL. So they're making holes for Brady. They're making holes for Streveler. So
5 yards per carry, 3 runs of 10 plus.
Yeah.
And again, this is with a quarterback that is no threat. No threat. He's a 100-yard rusher averaging 5 yards per carry and 3 chunk runs. Like, these are good numbers for a quarterback that throws for 400 or 350 or 300 or 250. 54 yards, 37%, and he's running for 100. Can we stop talking about the offensive line, please?
Yeah.
You know
The,
what I
the
mean?
only the only thing, just to put a bow on this little discussion, Darren, and we probably have to
Mm-hmm.
get to our awards, is if the only counterpoint I'd make about Schoen, because if you looked at stats, and you actually did this on Twitter a couple of months ago, you showed the stats with games played with Schoen and Lawler, and they were comparable. Thank you, Sandy.
Very
You see
kind with the
my
super
mug in
chat.
the back there? That's from
Mm,
Sandy. I don't know where Darren's is. Jeez, Darren.
it's under
Um,
my hat.
Thank you,
Sandy.
Sandy. You're the
You
best.
know what I mean, Sandy. It's under my hat.
Yeah, yeah. We know what happened. Darren, you broke it down, and Schoen and Lawler, yardage wise, touchdowns wise, playing time wise, availability, they were pretty similar at the beginning of this season. The only thing I'd say about Schoen is just the type of injuries. So Schoen had, what was it, an ACL last year?
Well,
Whereas
we don't know. He came back.
the
No,
knee
that was the
injury,
year before he came back for the Grey Cup. Yeah.
he had a knee injury last year, took him out for the season, and think in
Yeah.
game 3 or 4. And Lawler missed 8 games last season, but it was a forearm fracture. So, just from an injury perspective, would it be fair to say Schoen maybe with that type of injury is maybe more prone to get injured again than Lawler? I don't know.
Brandon Rodriguez with a very pressing question. Is there a chance Zach Collaros is back versus Hamilton this coming Saturday? He did limited practice this week. Okay, so I'm gonna break this down. Treatment, and again, we're speculating that it is a concussion, but it is a head injury. It was previously a neck injury. Both of those, all indications are it's a concussion. Okay. Um, Concussion treatment in 2025, and really for the last year or two, has been it's no longer quiet room, low light, shut it all down. It's the opposite. It's push yourself to do as much as you can do. Go walk, go run, go work out, go lift weights. Uh, don't do anything that is going to result in another hit to the head or another blow or shake of the head. Okay. But do everything you can to oxygenate your blood and oxygenate your brain. And how do you oxygenate the brain? It's not sitting and doing math problems, it's moving your body. It's the only way to oxygenate the brain. Get oxygenated blood to the brain. So to see Zach Collaros in practice this week, helmet, shoulder pads, but not participating, like not taking reps. It was Chris Streveler, first team reps, Terry Wilson, second team reps. Collaros would, throw the ball a little bit, but like he wouldn't do it in like, proper offensive reps. Just kind of running around, doing some different things. That's a very positive sign. But there have been 3 times this year he has been unable to play because of a neck or head injury, and 2 instances where he clearly sustained the injury to his neck and head. Okay. They are going to use an abundance of caution, and then probably even a little bit more on top of that abundance. They're going to try to play the best football they can while Zach Collaros recovers. And like, let's look at the schedule here. And again, we don't have a specific timeline, nor should we try to. But you got Hamilton. Here, I'll pull it up on the screen. Hamilton on Saturday in Winnipeg. Could that be 13 straight sellouts? Holy cow. Then a bye week. Then in Edmonton on October 11th. And then, well, and this could be a big game. This could be a very, very big game against Edmonton. Then Saskatchewan, October 17th, and then at home, and then Montreal at home in Winnipeg on October 25th. However it shakes out with Zach Collaros, I think he could return for the playoffs, maybe a week or two before. And I'll caveat that by saying I don't think Zach Collaros has sustained injury this year because of the offensive line or play calling or any of that. I think it's just shit happens. I truly believe that. I saw no issue with anybody missing an assignment or the O-line getting beat or anything. There was an extra rusher when CJ Rivas hit him in the side of the head. It was a penalized hit, and he got supplemental discipline. Got more supplemental discipline this week. Schnitzy, did you see that? For his tweet about it, criticizing the league. But I think Zach Collaros, I think he'll be back this year. And with him at quarterback, and Winnipeg like finding other ways to win in the meantime and playing games like they did tonight, Schnitzy, like, it's not out of the realm of possibility at all. This team could get hot at the right time, make a run. And
if you look
the Grey Cup.
I was thinking we were, just based on what happened last night with BC trouncing the best defense in the CFL, Calgary, and the Bombers at 6 wins, I was thinking we're headed to the crossover. But now, I mean, depending on what BC does, if they can keep it rolling, the Bombers are only 1 win behind Calgary. Vernon Adams went down. Backup quarterback PJ Walker went down.
Yep.
And Winnipeg could be battling with BC for second place if Calgary goes on a little bit of a tailspin here, Darrin. Which is crazy. So now you're looking at maybe a home playoff game for this team that was 6-7 and seemingly on the ropes against the worst team in the CFL, about to go down 10-0 on the road. When Vaval gets that 128 missed field goal return touchdown. It's insane how it changed on a dime this year.
Yeah. Oh, it definitely can change on a dime. I'm bringing up this comment again from Dan Miller, who says, I disagree. Our O-line isn't what it was. And our OC is still a rookie. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I've liked the play calling as of late. Jarius Jackson is a huge influence. Zach Collaros is a huge influence on the plays that they're calling. I don't think that's a problem. I agree the O-line is not what it used to be, but it's also not a problem. It's not a huge issue for Winnipeg right now. They have a 100-yard rusher in a game that they had zero pass threat. Zero pass threat.
Against a good Ottawa run, you could argue they're the best run defense in the CFL, Darrin.
And Dan saying it's not happening this year. Did you watch the Labor Day Classic? They went toe to toe on the road. Do you have any idea? Like you're going to Regina, you're going on the road in a Labor Day game, a rivalry game against a 10-win football club, and they missed winning by 1 play. It came right down to it. How can you say, if you watch the Bombers this year, how can you say that it's not happening this year? Have you not watched the CFL before? Montreal won the Grey Cup 2 years ago. Nobody saw that coming. Toronto won the Grey Cup last year.
Yeah, nobody saw that coming.
Toronto won the Grey Cup in 2022. Nobody saw that coming. Nobody.
Yeah,
and they had the MOP.
9,
they had the MOP that year. Nobody saw it coming.
Oh, the CFL is littered with teams that got hot at the right time, Darrin, that were even under 500. If you look at the 2001 Stamps, the 2016 RedBlacks.
Yep.
You look at the Argos the last few years, maybe 9-9, maybe a bit over, winning it. BC Lions, 2000 BC Lions, I think were 8-10 or something, 9-9. The Bombers were 9-9 in 1988 with Sean Salisbury and won it. It happens, and that's not a unicorn. That seems to happen every few years. I'm not trying to be a homer here. All I'm saying is there's historical context that a team like the Bombers, who's hovering at 500, who's had some questions, different phases of the game, right, Darrin? Lost games that they maybe should have won, but questionable play calling. But if Zach Collaros is at the helm with the defense playing the way it is, and the defense balled out tonight.
Yeah.
Special teams playing the way it is. Sergio Castillo, Trey Vaval, huge weapons.
Yeah.
They could win the Grey Cup. Do I think they will? I wouldn't bet on it.
I would with
the odds the Bombers have, maybe I would bet on it. I haven't decided yet. But I don't think there's one team in the CFL this year that is absolutely dominant. You saw McLeod Bethel Thompson torch the Riders. Now, mind you, that was with Kerfala XMA. He had no business being a DB. But they hung what, 48 on the Riders?
Yeah.
At home?
Yeah.
Every team is beatable, and the Bombers nearly beat the Stamps. They lost 28-27 on a walk-off field goal by Paredes. As you said, Darren, in the Labor Day Classic on the road against the best team in the league, they went toe-to-toe with them and could have easily won that game.
Mm.
And I think the Banjo Bowl was also winnable had Zach Collaros not gotten injured.
Mm-hmm.
So the game against Hamilton last week, the leaders in the East Division, winnable game. Bombers could have won that game with Zach Collaros.
With Zach Collaros, yeah.
For sure. You saw Brady's getting going now.
Hamilton played well. Hamilton played really well. If it wasn't for Winnipeg's defense in Hamilton last week, that would have been a 52-21 game, not a 32-21. Brandon Rodriguez asks, and we got to get through Westwood wide to the right. I don't have one tonight. Maybe you do, Schnitzy.
I have a good one.
Brandon Rodriguez, thoughts on Jamal Parker and Dietrich Nichols going down. Looks like Nichols just suffered a cramp or something like that. He came. I'm sure he'll be fine. Jamal Parker, no indication of the seriousness there. While you do your Westwood wide to the right, I'm going to play the hit on 𝘎𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙨 because that could be a Walby's Warrior honorable mention tonight.
Yeah, that was a hellacious hit, illegal hit, but
legal,
hellacious. And actually,
legal.
It was actually a pretty darn good throw by Streveler.
Well, we could call it a murder ball. Some people are like, well, he's trying to get him killed,
but he was open.
But Schnitzy, I'm gonna play this clip. I'll be right back. You let me know your Westwood wide to the right.
My Westwood wide to the right, folks, is none other than Schnitzy. Myself. I am my own wide to the right. Okay? Not because I went absolutely nuclear last week after the Hamilton loss. Not because I not only went on Instagram and Twitter and then Twitter Spaces to eviscerate Chris Streveler for that performance. But I hung both of Chris Streveler's picks solely on him last week. Now, I think I was right about the second one. It was a horrible decision to throw to Dembski in that position when Dembski was well covered by 𝘎𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙨, and it led to a back-breaking interception in the second quarter. Terrible pick, terrible decision by Chris Streveler. But the first pick, that wasn't just on Chris Streveler. Now, he's throwing a hitch, and I was like, he isn't even looking where he's throwing, and then it's picked up by Peters, who nearly takes it to the house. So yeah, was it a bit behind the guy? Yeah. Should he have seen it and maybe throw it in the dirt or just ran with it? Probably a better quarterback would have done that. However, I had someone who knows a lot more about football break it down. Tyson D's saying I've been insufferable. Yeah, well, just ask my wife about me being insufferable. She could give you a litany of examples. But that play, you could argue it was more on Hogan for calling a play that was that predictable, so that Jamal Peters just picked it off, read the mail. In fact, if you
disagree with that,
play,
but
okay. But if you look at that play, Jamal Peters is breaking on the ball before the snap even hits Streveler's hands. He knew it was coming. Maybe that's just great film study by him. I won't go there. But if you look at the receivers on that play, Wheatfall and Wilson, they literally almost ran into each other. They were in the exact same spot. One whiffed on the block, and the other one didn't run a great route. So
it looks like
a perfect example.
Miscommunication of a pick play, and they just kind of bumped into each other.
Yeah, and so I think the thing I love about football, Darren, and I've learned a lot of this from you and our listeners, viewers, other people around the league, friends, is it is 4D chess. It is the ultimate team game. Here's the pick. It's a 12-man game.
Watch Wilson. Watch Wilson, number 80.
Yeah. whiffs on his block, right?
It's a 12-man game.
It's a 12-man game, and an interception looks bad on the QB for sure. And could Streveler have made a different decision? For sure. But what I've been told is that on screen passes like that bang bang, quarterback often just throws it. Like to expect them to see that and dirt it or run maybe is a little bit unfair. Maybe only the elite of the elite look that off and do something else.
Mistakes happen. You're never going to play a perfect game.
No, for sure. My point is I was wrong to nail Streveler to the cross there. I feel bad about it. I'm trying to learn more about football, and I will endeavor to not talk out of my ass.
We all do sometimes.
We all do sometimes, but it's, I think our fans deserve better. If I was listening to the show, I would want someone that was fair. And I think in order to be fair in assessing a game and an individual player's performance, you really have to be patient and break it down and know what's happening. And on that play, that wasn't on Streveler as much as maybe the receivers there.
Watch the outside receiver.
I apologize, folks. I apologize.
Oh, good on you, Schnitzy. I appreciate that. I try to do the same thing. And you know what? A disservice to our fans, I'll push back on that. Any disservice to our fans is negated by working to be right, not just being satisfied with being close to right or wrong sometimes. Anyway, I just wanted to highlight this. Watch Ontario Wilson. He's right above the 50 here. Or pardon me, he's the inside slot. He's the slot back in the waggle. His job is to come down and pick Peters, and Peters just skirts around it and goes past 𝘎𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙨 and then comes back and picks it. Incredible play by Jamal Peters.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes you can't say, well, it's on the OC for a bad play call. Oh, it's on the quarterback for a bad throw. Oh, it's on the sometimes the all-star player on the other side of the field makes an awesome play. Sometimes you do everything you can to be sharp and they make a better play.
And I wondered, fair point, and I wonder on that play, is it the fault? Is it really Wilson's fault for not getting that block? Because 𝘎𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙨 was ran into him. So I wonder whether it was more that 𝘎𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙨 wasn't in the right spot, that Wilson couldn't get around him to block. It's interesting, right? It's complicated. Yeah. It's very complicated.
Yeah. Lots happening.
That's my wide to the right, myself.
Yeah. Okay. Good on you, Schnitzy. I'm proud of you, brother. Yeah. Good on you. Always trying to get better. I love it.
Always trying to get better.
Yes, sir. A lesson I hope you learn this week is to just let the Twitter trolls talk, man. Just let them talk.
There was one night where I was on Twitter till the wee hours, just going after people. People were going after me, and I ended up. You know what I've learned on Twitter? You can do. You don't have to block someone, but you can just mute them, and that way you don't see their responses and you don't see their posts, and
yep,
your mental health is better for that.
Yeah. Love everybody's opinion. There's a difference between being a troll and just engaging in conversation. Sometimes you even have to just tune out the conversation because it ends up, as somebody who's a sports reporter and content creator in the sometimes you just have to be for my own mental health, for my own energy, for my own peace, I'm just not going to respond. It's not my job to respond to everybody all the time. I do the best I can. Sometimes you have to just go, you know what? People are upset. People are fired up. People are excited. And I got other things to do. I'm going to go take a walk. I'm going to go play with my dog. I'm going to go plant a tree or two like I did this week before it started raining. What did you just throw over your shoulder there?
My cat. I threw her away because she could, she lands on her feet, folks. I didn't hurt my cat. She's fine. Yeah. She's going to come back in 2 seconds. Matt Hyman saying, thanks, Schnitzy. I'll mute Jeff Kabilis right away.
There you go. Do you got a happy honker?
You know what, Darren? The whole game was a happy honker. Okay. This whole game
Awesome.
was a happy, for the first time in Bonfire history. I am saying the happy honker is the entire game, folks. The Bombers won this game by 8 points, but really it was 15 points because that last touchdown was garbage time. They should have won this game by 15 points with a quarterback who was outdueled by 352 yards.
Passing, yeah.
Outdueled. That was the difference. That was the disparity between Dru Brown's passing numbers and Chris Streveler's. And Chris Streveler had 3 completions with an efficiency rating of under 10. And the Bombers won the game. They won this game. That is a happy honker if I ever heard one. The team won the turnover battle. I believe it was 4-1. They had 16 points off turnovers. Most of their points came off turnovers and special teams. Their defense balled out. Willie Jefferson had a game with a big sack for minus 17 yards.
Both offenses had 2 big plays. Winnipeg had 2 rushes of 20-plus yards. Ottawa 2 passes of 30-plus yards. What do you think of that?
But if I think the Bombers should count, or not the Bombers, the CFL Live thing we use there, Darren. They should count big play returns there because those matter. And folks, a big play return is a punt return 30-plus or a 40-plus yard kickoff return, or I believe it's a 30-plus yard missed field goal or 40-yard missed field goal return. Well, the Bombers had 2 of those.
Yep.
So you could argue the Bombers had 4 big plays.
Well, and look at the turnovers.
Yeah.
4-1. Win the turnover battle, win the physicality battle, play solid defense. You can find ways to win.
You can once a decade, but you do need a quarterback who can throw the ball.
Willie Jefferson, 2 knockdowns today. I'll give him a game ball. Cam Allen, 2 interceptions today. I'll give him a game ball. I'm going to give a game ball to 𝘎𝙤𝙣𝙧𝙨. That dude is tough. I hope he's okay. He is tough, man. He has made so many of these catches this year. I'm going to pull up the second clip I had of this. He's made so many of these going across the middle plays this year.
He has.
He fearless, catches it, takes the hit. You know, Chris Walby calls it alligator arms. You know, guys get scared when they're about to get a hit, you know, catch the ball and get it. Like, he caught that ball and then Pickett just blew him up. You really hope that he's okay.
Yeah,
that's absolutely a clean hit. That is a clean hit, all shoulder to chest. The head takes the hit. Like it like the head is going to snap back. The head is going to take part of that blow. But that is a clean hit. Football is the most violent sport outside of motorsports, and you know, fight sports. It is the most violent pro sport there is. Because these guys strap equipment on so they can hit each other. Like, Adarius Pickett's a good player. That was a clean hit. Never seen him play dirty before. But I'm giving 𝘎𝙤𝙧𝙨 probably the top game ball tonight. Yeah. That was awesome. Good for him, and hope he's okay.
And I'm just looking at our notes from previous weeks, Darren. I'm trying to find the game. Oh, yeah. So, funny enough, it was that Week 11 win, 30-27 over Ottawa, where Weefall took 2 hellacious hits and hung on to the ball. You remember that, folks? Those 2 massive hits he took, and he hung on to the ball. And then, sure enough, Ottawa does it again. This time, I don't think anyone could have hung on to that ball. That was an absolute bone shaker by Adarius Pickett, arguably maybe one of the best defenders in the CFL, Darren. Yep. Shoulder to chest. At first, I thought he was defenseless and it was a illegal hit, but it was shoulder to chest. It was a thing of beauty, and I just hope that Wheatfall's head is okay. I hope he's not wheat fallen. I'm stealing that from, I think it was Sasha in the chat said wheat fallen. I thought that was funny, although it's not really funny because he's probably injured. But clever play
Sandy
on words.
wants to, and thanks again for the super chat, Sandy. She says, hearing this penalty way too often. WTF is accidental pass interference. Let's take a look at it.
Oh, look
Nick
at Darrin
Dembski
just throwing it up there for you guys.
Nick Dembski drew an accidental pass interference call from Fry, the defensive back for the RedBlacks. What is accidental pass interference? It is exactly what it sounds like. I'm going to pull ahead here. It's when pass interference happens. Watch the feet. It accidentally happens. He accidentally tripped him. He didn't try to trip him. He didn't stick his foot out. But they're running. And he steps on his foot there. That's accidental pass interference. It's a penalty because he did impede the receiver from catching the ball. But it's not a 15-yard automatic first down. It's a 10-yard penalty and repeat down. It's essentially a non-play and they move the ball 10 yards. That's the difference between accidental pass interference and pass interference. There you go, Sandy.
There you go.
Yep.
My game ball, Darrin. First of all, can I ask you or the chat, did the Bisons win this week?
Yeah, I think my play-by-play partner Tyler Fabry mentioned that they did. I'm focused on the Winnipeg Rifles playing at home tomorrow. I'll have that game on cjfltv.com.
That's at Is that at Maple Grove?
Yeah, St. Vital Mustangs Field, Maple Grove Rugby Park. Yeah.
What time? I might bring the little guy out to that.
I am pretty sure it's at 1. They've been changing the times a little bit. Riflesfootball.com. We'll give
Coach Fabs is right there. Hey, Coach Fab, what's up?
Yeah, 1 o'clock.
What's up?
1 o'clock.
Nice. Darrin will be calling the game, folks. A multi-talented.
Well, there you go.
Coach Fabs is saying the Bisons ran for 315 yards.
All right.
34-7. Nice. I got to get out to one of those Bisons games with my buddy Pat Rathwell from 1930 Crew. We got to get out together, buddy.
Yeah, and hey, happy birthday to 1930 Crew founder, along with Pat Rathwell, but Jeffrey Bannon, 50th birthday today.
Yes.
Schnitzy, if you and I can shake our head colds, maybe we'll head down there tonight.
Yeah, I think I'll make an appearance. I feel like garbage, but Jeffrey will bring me in. Game ball. So I talked about Reddick Cramdy. I think I have 3 game balls, and I have to my one of my game balls is going to go to Brady Oliveira. 5-yard average on 20 carries for 100 yards. Like you said, Darrin, 3 runs of 10 plus, including a long of 21 yards, which counts as an explosion play. 20 or more yard run is an explosion play. Streveler had the other one. He had that 36-yard run, which was a great play call by Hogan, by the way. They faked the sweep there. And Streveler takes it outside with exceptional blocking from the Bombers on that play. Neufeld was in on there, I think. If I look back, it might have been Wilson. I don't remember who was blocked, but incredible blocking. So Brady gets one. Brady brand bully ball. They really gave it to him in the second half, and he put that game away. I'm going to give one to Joey Court. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not giving one to Joey Court. I'm going to give another game ball to Cam Allen. Now, as I said, I couldn't. Maybe you can fill me in here, Darrin, or people on the chat. I couldn't quite make out what Lapo was saying on Cam Allen's 2 interceptions that were just absolutely huge in this game, a game where defense and special teams really put them over the top. But he has the 2 picks. I don't know how much of that was Dru Brown throwing right to him or whether Allen made a decent play on those picks, Darrin. Maybe people can fill me in. But just to have those picks was absolutely huge tonight when the offense couldn't get them going. They scored after those 2 interceptions. And I thought Allen was absolutely key in this game. And he, like I said before, he had some serious return yardage after those interceptions. One of them was 57 yards. So that's a nice return. And then my number one game ball goes to the aforementioned Trey Vaval. Could be the turning point in the Bombers season. At 6-7 on the road, could have gone down 10 points. He returns the missed 43-yard field goal, 128 yards for the touchdown. Elusiveness, speed, team blocking. Gets the Bombers to tie the game. Ties the Bombers' franchise record for longest return touchdown ever. And this team's been around, well, since 1930, hence the 1930 crew, right? That's in, what, 95 years?
Well, I think all of those stats go back to the modern CFL. That would go back to like 1955.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then he gets on his other missed field goal return, the 46-yard miss from Lewis Ward, gets 71 yards. Took it up to, I think, the Ottawa 53. So, and then he seals the game on third down for Ottawa in our red zone. A decent pass to Eugene Lewis, their best receiver, in the end zone, one-on-one, and Vaval's there to help break it up. So he was the most important player in this game. Of course, you have to give a shout out to the return team blockers and all that. But yeah, what a great game for the kid.
No doubt. Well said.
Big game ball.
I want to draw attention to our good friends at the Silver Heights restaurant. Look, we couldn't do this without them. Are you looking for legendary ribs and steaks in Winnipeg? Like, the Heights is the spot. You can hit the Heights in sunny St. James. Silver Heights Restaurant and Lounge serves up your favorites: mouth-watering seafood, hearty Canadian classics. It's Le Burger Week. They always do a great job with Le Burger Week. And we'll get this straightened out. Just pulling up some of their specials here, different days of the week. Canadian classics, cozy vibes, family-run Winnipeg institution since 1957. Oh gosh, these are all out of whack. Sorry, folks. Free parking, dine-in, takeout, delivery, and a great beer selection in the lounge, which is Winnipeg's original sports bar. You can watch the Jets, you can watch the Bombers, NFL, and more on their monster big screen and multiple TVs around the lounge. Open late, Silver Heights Restaurant. There's Tony, there's JC. 2169 Portage, just west of Assiniboine Park. Order, book online, and find more at silverheightsrestaurant.ca. Tell them the Bonfire Boys sent you. They got trivia night with John Youngberg, our old pal. They got Tuesdays where two can dine for $28. $1 6-ounce glass, $2 off your 9-ounce, like just specials out the yin yang. Mondays, domestic bottles. You get a bucket for $5 off. Rib platter for $20 plus tax with the Memphis fried ribs.
For $20 for a rib platter?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You gotta get there.
They are the spot. Tons of awesome drink choices as well. Just get down to the Heights. Tell them the Bonfire Boys sent you. silverheightsrestaurant.ca. You can find them on social media as well. That'll pretty much do it, Schnitzy. I think we should wrap it up there. Pretty impressive win. However it's done, they don't ask how, they ask how many. Bombers win 26-18 to get back to 500, 7-7 on the season. They got the Ticats on Saturday, which means Chris Walby will join me for Game Day Winnipeg and our pregame show. Oh, yes. Walby breaks down the film too on our pregame show, so check that out. We go live 3 o'clock, 3:10, the day before the game every single week. And then Schnitzy, of course, you'll join me for Game Day After Dark live here on Bonfire Sports. We do a postgame show next week as well.
Yes, sir. I'm bringing my son to that game. I'm going to feed him with mini donuts. He's probably going to throw up. But
I don't know why you have to mention that all the time.
I don't know. My wife was not impressed. But yes, very, very much looking forward to next week. Bombers get revenge. Hopefully we see Zach Collaros back in the saddle. But if not, hey, maybe Streveler will surpass this week and get 4 completions. You never know.
Hey, you never know.
Lightning can strike twice. All right, folks. Well, tonight, Chris Streveler was playing with a burning hot fire. And if you told us he'd win with 3 completions, I'd call you a liar. Sayonara, everybody.